questions I get often most asked is, what is your favorite dish, Jimmy? Well, there's so many that I really, really love, but they say, no, you have to only pick one. It's going to be this next dish. I love linguine with white clam sauce. It's very quick, it's healthful, it's delicious, and with very few ingredients. The way I do it, we're just going to use the cherry stone clams, fresh parsley, fresh garlic, and virgin olive oil. That's it. Some people like to say, oh no, I like to put butter and I add some wine. With this dish, you don't fool around. This is the way I like it. But again, on the other side of the coin, the great thing about cooking is you cook and do what you like. If somebody says they like putting peanut butter in with it, well, good luck to them. But the classic, true, and best way to make it is the way I just said. So let's start with the cherry stones. Now, all clams are the same. A cherry stone is just the medium size of the clam. The smallest would be little neck, where they're about the size of a $50. And then we got the cherry stones that are about the size of a silver dollar and then some. And then basically would be the quahog, which is really big, that are used mainly in chowders. So here we have our cherry stones that we're opening. We'll take all that nice meat out, and very importantly, keep the broth that comes with the clam. And another very important thing about this dish is to use only fresh clams. When I'm going to look for cookbooks, one of the benchmarks I look for is I always go to linguine with white clam sauce. If I see their recipe says that you can use canned clams in place of fresh, I close the book so fast. In fact, sometimes you just get the book and throw it down on the floor, because the book isn't going to be worth anything if they tell you that. This dish has to be fresh clams. Forget the canned clams, forget anything else. So we're getting our meat out. And also, some people have a difficult time opening the fresh cherry stone clams. If it gives you a problem, put them in the freezer, and after about a half hour, those clams are numbed out of their head, and they'll open up very easily. And if you want to just save them for the future, you can keep them in the refrigerator for a couple of months. Take them out, they'll be rock hard. After about maybe 20 or 30 minutes, at room temperature, they'll start to open up a little, and just take out the clam from the shell and separate it from the broth, as we're going to do now. And I'll tell you why we have that separation for a few minutes. So the clams are finished. We're just going to get the meat of the clam, put that in the pan. We'll just chop them up slightly, give them some sort of a rough chop. Instead of just having an entire clam when you're twirling your linguine. And again, about the linguine, linguine is the preferred pasta to use when you make really any fish dish. Linguine is long, like a spaghetti, but it's flat. And it gets its name from the Latin word for tongue, lingua. And it's linguine, it's flat, it's not round. So here we have our fresh cherry stone meat. We're just going to put in some fresh garlic. Oh, I'd say about a tablespoon, nice and generous. Nice extra virgin olive oil. And the parsley, I think I'm going to save it till this is sauteed, not to really cook a lot of the flavor and the freshness out of the parsley. A couple of minutes of sauteing, we're now going to add the broth. And the reason I'm adding the broth now is, if I would have added it initially with the clams, that broth would have acted as a boiling agent. And when you boil clams, they become very tough. So we want to saute the clams with very smallest amount of liquid possible. Just a little bit with that olive oil. And now we'll put the broth in, just warm it up a little bit. Keep that nice fresh sea flavor. See how beautiful that looks? And all we're gonna do now is add our linguine right into the pan. There we go. And just do a little at a time. There's about a half a pound in there. Mix that right up, right in the pan. Doesn't get any better than that. 100% of the flavor right in there, not being lost. And take it off the heat. Make sure we get all those strands nice and moist. Now look at that. With those nice clams on top. Now we'll finish it with some of the fresh parsley. Now look at that. That looks like $1 million. And that's it.